Sarah and Vinnie on Alice at 97.3.
Welcome, Mr. Greg Proops.
Right on time.
Good morning, everybody. Hello, Bay Area.
Welcome home.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here in the Purple Rain.
I have not seen you. It's been quite a while.
I was going to say maybe a year or two, huh?
At
Probably.
least, I
Easily.
think. Yeah. How come you're wearing your headphones like that? You just don't want to mess up your hair?
I don't want to mess up my hair.
You know you're on the cameras.
No, they're going to have to see it this way. It's horrible. This is how I do it. This keeps the hair up at all times.
It is actually very supportive.
I can't have any diminishment, yeah. If I put it in the middle like that,
Then you get the track.
yeah, then I get
across
this
your
weird reverse mohawk, sideways mohawk.
head. Isn't that
No, the
somewhat
other
more
way looks a
comfortable?
lot better, Greg.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Thank you for
For
that.
sure.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
definitely.
Thank you,
Right.
Vinny.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
that is.
Right? Then I get the rooster tail.
Would you mind if I took a picture?
Not at all.
All right, great. That is a very.
People have been noting for the last few weeks that I wear my headphones like this, but I don't care anymore.
So Greg is a longtime friend of the show.
Yep.
Been doing the show with us for years, but this whole book thing, that's new, right?
Oh, yeah, man. It just came out a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we all had a chance to spend a day with it, and
Ooh, there it is right there.
Yes, well, I put it so that the camera will be getting it.
Sweet.
Product placement, you know.
Oh, yeah, and branding. It's all about that now.
Yeah. Yes.
You seem to have taken to it, the whole writing a book thing. I mean, it doesn't seem to have been a stretch at all.
Hi, Hunan.
Hi. How are you?
No, it was fun.
We're posing for a photo.
No, we're
Yes,
posing
we
for a
are.
photo,
Yeah.
radio listeners. Please don't hit
Sure.
seek.
Seeking something, anything.
It took 2 years to write it, and after 2 years, you're like, it should be a Russian novel if you're going to take that long, don't you think? Don't you think it should have like 500 characters and a Napoleonic War as a backdrop or whatever?
Well, you love history as events from the book. Did you think to yourself, well, I am just the guy to write a book? Like, why a book? Did
No,
someone say write a book?
I've been doing the podcast for a few years, and then my agent at the time goes, you want to go into Simon & Schuster and have a meeting? And I was like, yeah, I'd love to. So I wrote this proposal for the book that had all the junk in it that's in there, like the feminism and the baseball, Negro Leagues, art, music, literature, movies. Basically, it's just my poison opinion on everything. I tell you what you should be watching and what you should be reading.
And listening to.
And listening to.
She
And
took real offense to the fact that you don't think Journey is worth a listen. And
wow.
I had to laugh at the
Don't cry.
police as you went, a guy named Sting, come on. And as I was reading parts of it, I thought, but you don't say what I should listen to, and that's the part that left me hanging. Like, what should I?
I do.
No,
Sure,
you
there's
do.
chapters and chapters.
There's a whole thing on
What
what
rock
you should.
do you love?
Oh, what rock do I love? The Ramones.
Oh.
And Lou Reed and the Clash. And
Okay, I'm in with everything you just
I like
mentioned.
lots of rock. It was just that I had to eliminate some things at the beginning. And they were adamant about, like, okay, make sure you say what you don't like, you know. And so, of course, I did. That's why I said no Kiss, no Miley, no auto-tuned anything, because whatever. I like organic music, you know. So that's why there's lots of Aretha Franklin and Marvin Gaye and all that
Right.
jazz.
The purity of the voice shining through.
Well, people that can play instruments are often good musicians, and or the other way around. Good musicians often can play their own instruments. It was no knock on. Hey, I love "Don't Stop Believin'" as much as the next guy, and I love that Steve Perry goes to all the Giants games and sings.
That's true. That's got to get him points.
No, that warms my heart. It really does. And I've never karaoke to it, but I've seen people do it, and it's quite a good number.
What I liked about the book, as you laid it out right there in the beginning, you sort of make arguments for a lot of things that you like, and here's why you should love history, and here's why poetry's cool. And I sort of thought, I don't know if you went to school for debate, if that's something that you just naturally, public speaking and comedy, you naturally took to, or is this a skill you've worked on? But man, you lay it out and you start going, wow, history is cool.
Yeah. Well, you know all the secret stuff about history.
Well, history's not that boring. It's licentious and full of drugs and mayhem. And
They clean it up for the textbooks or
It's
something?
the way you get sold it in school, like Columbus discovered America and nonsense like that, and white people were great, and that white people made great decisions through time and protected our freedom. And I love the fake liberty narrative of America. I mean, the founding fathers wrote a Constitution and a Declaration of Independence and said all men are created equal, and somehow left out women and black people.
Yeah.
So I feel like, that's an issue.
Right.
That we don't talk about and that we're still dealing with every day.
Right.
And that's why I put all that feminist stuff in there and, revisionist history. I mean, there's a lot of ancient history in there, which I'm trying to sell as being lurid, and because it is. People keep asking me, why was Alexander the Great so great? And I'm like, because he had bitchin' hair and tried to conquer the world, man. What did you do with your crappy life?
That was his objective. What is your objective?
Right.
I'm hoping to make it to Friday, bro.
Yeah, exactly. No, he thought he was the son of a god, and he rode on a giant horse and had a big plume on his hat and wore a big Medusa shield and acted like a maniac. And,
well, you only had so much time back in those days. I mean, the lives were short and glorious.
Oh, yeah, exactly. He only made it to 32, which is total rock star, and died kind of after a drunken party.
Did he?
Yeah, he went out to a drinking party.
Know all this stuff.
I read a lot of
You're
books.
Just amazing,
I read books.
Greg.
I do remember one of my first history courses in college. The guy stood up on a table and said, "Everything you've learned is wrong. I'm going to have to reteach you everything."
Yeah.
And we were like, oh no. Starting from scratch, huh?
Right.
But then he did start just taking apart everything. And you go, oh wow, why'd they waste our time on this if none of it was right?
Because they want to teach you this weird, story of America, that white people were so great and the Pilgrims came and that they had this banquet with the Indians and all that, which, that didn't really happen. And the Pilgrims robbed Indians' graves, basically. They were desperate. And
well, they were ragged folk, not.
They were, and not the funnest group that ever landed in America. Like I used to say, how come we didn't get the Italian party vessel with the cappuccino machine and the gelato maker? Why didn't we get the bandy-legged group of ucky Puritans with the beckles on their heads?
The who now? What? That's what I love about Greg. You just have to follow along. You'll pick up enough references that you're like, okay, I'm with him.
Soon it'll be amusing. Of all the events I've done, you guys, this is the one I've looked forward to the most. Well, because we're in San Francisco.
Mattress Central.
Yeah, we're gonna huff outside, and then we're gonna go in, and we're gonna drink, and it'll be. I'd go to bookstores, and I'd never been an author before, and you go to these readings, and everybody's sitting on little folding chairs like this with expectation on their faces, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not Martha Stewart. What am I gonna do? And then it's always better than you think it is. But the first one, I was like, what do I do?
Were you really nervous?
Well, I wasn't really nervous because once I start talking, then I become mesmerized by the sound of my own voice and everything's okay. But I was a little taken aback. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden I have to answer for everything I've written. You know what I mean?
People did put their hands up.
Oh, yeah, they did.
They did.
Yeah. And like, how come I said, there's all this, foreign words in the book, and I did the audio book, and I sat for 3 days in a studio with a guy, and he's like, no, this is how you pronounce this. This is how you pronounce this. We went through the pronunciation of everything. And there's Latin words in there, and there's, Greek names, like Alexander's generals and Callisthenes and Canis and all that.
So you had to be cursing yourself. Why did I
do this? Why did I do this? Why was I so...
It's my book. I didn't have to do this.
So this woman the other night goes, I have a question. I go, yeah. And she goes, if you couldn't pronounce the names, why'd you put them in your book? And I went, hey, lady, back off. That's the reason. The other night I was in Portland, and I said, we recorded in the valley. And I realized that means nothing to anyone in Portland. And I was like, I want you to know LA has a valley, and it's a lot like the Columbia River Gorge with eagles and fish jumping in the river.
Not like that.
No, it's horrible. The valley's just this what,
A valley.
Yeah, it's a desolate place where life can find no purchase.
Smoggy stretch of red lights.
Yeah, Van Nuys.
Light after light.
We recorded in Van Nuys, and the lights are way far apart. There's no such thing as a human block there. The blocks are like 17,000 miles long.
Nobody walks in LA.
Exactly. Walking in LA.